Well, here we are again, boys and girls. Everyone talking about AI systems. But as you can see, 2 months ago, this is all I was sort of talking about before it even became a trend. So in this video, you're going to actually hear from the horse's mouth what real AI systems look like, how to actually sell them like SaaS, and how to charge 5 to 10k per build. I've seen a lot of creators jumping on the bandwagon of talking about selling AI systems like it's some sort of new idea. But back when I just started YouTube and obviously no one was listening to me, I was already talking about this idea because it works. It's what I've been selling this whole time. Systems create perceived value. Systems make you look like some sort of SaaS founder, not just a freelancer, and they let you charge 5 times more. That's maybe a bit of a push, but and I'm just going to show you how to build them. As some of you may know from already watching the channel, I've worked in enterprise tech sales, selling Microsoft Power Platform for 5 figures easily, and they were all packaged in this front end app, which gave it real perceived value, real tangible. It's a tangible product for the customer, and now we could do the same thing for a third of the price. Say I used to, right, listen to this. I was selling this automation for 30 grand, right? 30000. It was a report generation system. Okay. Now, all it would do, it was for a, what were they? Like a social care company who worked with children, and they were constantly interviewing these children, as you can imagine, really sensitive information, writing down all the reports every time they went and met them. And at the end of this maybe like 6-week process of constant interviewing, maybe once a week, they'd have 6 reports. They needed to generate one huge report, where normally these social workers would sit down and I've got a pen and paper here, but they'd obviously be on a computer and they'd be looking at all their 6 reports that they've done, putting them all together to make it one clean report that works. So for 30 grand, right, I'm not, this is no word of a lie, for 30 grand, we were selling this automation where they'd input into the Microsoft Power Platform, into the app, all 6 reports that they've done by hand. I say done by hand, you know what I mean? They'd then press start automation and it would generate this one report that would normally take them a few weeks to do, or definitely a few days at least. And that's all it was. And that was 30 grand. Can you get your head around that, right? That's about 4 modules in make.com. Same with NA10 nodes. All you'd have to be doing is having them input into a Bolt app that you make, all the reports. You'd have AI clean up the data so it's summarized and chunked and whatever into different texts. And then you'd obviously give it a load of examples beforehand of the type of report that you want it to sort of generate, and it would spit it out. AI would generate it really, really quickly within a few seconds. 30 grand. No, that's mental, right? So, and it was that automation I was selling, right? I was like, what the fuck? Right, I need to leave. I need to do this myself. So as you guys already know, this wasn't anything to do with YouTube or Twitter or nothing like that. I started this business because of what I already knew and what I was already selling. I knew there was a fuckload of money in this. I was thinking, what the fuck? Okay. So you see all these creators on YouTube, and it kind of pisses me off, who are talking about things that they have fucking no clue about, right? They have no actual corporate experience in it. So this shift from selling linear automations, it is changing. And this is what I called it 2 months ago, hyper automation. So I swear down, I'm going to copyright that word, because if that starts coming out in people's YouTube titles, I'm going to be throwing shit at the wall. But anyway, it's changing the way we build and sell AI for good, and you need to change with it. You need to listen to me, and I'm going to speak to you exactly how we're going to do this. I'll put a link to the video if you want to watch it. It's almost the same slide. I've tweaked a few things, but if you want to watch that video, I'll put it in the description. It's about 20 minutes long, and it talks in depth about everything I know about AI systems and hyper automation. But anyway, as you guys probably all know, automation has been around forever. Okay, this, fucking robotics automation. People used to sew, fucking, I don't know, just sew and knit and all that in factories. Obviously, that still happens at some parts in the world. But then we had some sort of textile automation, which would create these clothes and manufacture them completely autonomously. We had fucking, I don't know, we used to walk everywhere, and then suddenly we could fucking get in a car and drive. We automated walking, stuff like that. We had so many different kinds of manual processes that have just been automated through time. So it's not new. It's been around for as long as you guys have all been alive, for sure. But what hyper automation is entire workflows that are powered by AI. Okay, so we've had automation. We could send an email when we wanted, automate emails, automate fucking stuff like this. All right, but now we can incorporate AI into this workflow, which we have also been able to do for a while, a couple of years at least. And this creates a fully integrated AI-powered workflow, an AI-powered system. You can give it an input, AI will analyze it, AI can do whatever you want, AI can spit out a different output, it can spit loads of different outputs, it can categorize things, it can do whatever the fuck you pretty much want it to do. I'm sorry for my language in this video, it's getting a bit out of hand. I think I'm just getting a bit passionate. But what I've put here is that businesses, they don't just want one tool. I mean, fair enough, okay, if a proposal generator, for example, people might, it annoys me, right? Because will it help businesses? Yes. Are there people out there searching the web for AI proposal generators? No. It's not an absolute need. That can still be done manually, but we can still sell that as a tool. However, you could add other things onto that to make it a complete system, or even if you just wrap it in a front-end app like I've showed you and now all the other creators are jumping on, that then becomes a system. It's not just an automation anymore, it becomes a system. Does that make sense? And you can suddenly sell that more high ticket, right? So hyper-automation are high ticket systems. So that thing that you actually annoys me, that you tell people to log into make.com or NA10 and you'd go, you just press this button here and it outputs over there. Like, fuck off. I don't understand how anyone has made money doing that. Since I started this agency, right, back in September last year, or August, I should say, I have always wrapped it in this front end app, or at least the first couple sales I didn't, and then things just became so much easier when I started integrating this bolt.new app that I showed you in my last video or the video before that or whenever it was, where this suddenly becomes a system. They suddenly have a URL that they can either plug as an extension into their website, or it's a website that they can just go on. You can put some sort of OAuth onto it or connect it with Supabase and have a login to make it more secure. And they log in and they press start automation, and then the outputs, a webhook response comes back, or it goes into their Google Drive, whatever they want. It outputs something tangible, clean, something nice, the actual solution, the result that they wanted. And something really important about this is that it will actually help you land longer term retainers, right? Because suddenly I can actually get annoyed just thinking about seeing some of what these creators are on about, but it will help you land longer term retainers. And I'll tell you why. Because suddenly it's a system, right? It looks, even though it might have taken that app, right? If you've got the prompt already and you know what you're putting in, it might have taken you a few seconds to build, right? 30 seconds, a minute for it, including the coding that gets done. But to them, they don't know that. They think, fucking hell, he's just made an app that looks like my website. That's incredible. And suddenly it looks like a system. They don't really know about the back end. Obviously, if you follow my service delivery, you probably will be having them. No. You probably will be having them own the back end, because I like to not really do. I sell it as a one-off and then I sell a retainer. Now, let me tell you how that works. So when I was working in an MSP, you'd pay for the engineer's time. Okay, the engineer doesn't work for free. Even when I worked for data center solutions, right, we still had to set up people's servers within a data center. Was that free? Absolutely not. No, you paid £600 for that or something. In terms of the AI and automation stuff, that was £1,250 a day. £1,250 a day, okay, to set up this automation, to build it and everything. And do you know what took the longest time? Do you know what's quoted the longest? It was the AI prompts. So a lot of you who are spending a couple hours doing a prompt thinking it's perfect, it's not. Okay. Every time I'm building a workflow for someone, the prompt is the longest thing that it takes by far, because you're always refining the prompt, you're perfecting it. It needs to be perfect. For the automation to be perfect, the prompt needs to be perfect. And you know what's crazy? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on a conversation I had with someone who worked for this MSP to see what they said about prompts. It's really interesting. Just bear with me. See, I'm not actually going to show you what he says because I might get in trouble. I don't know. But he goes on to say about how they'd done a piece for a children's hospital. I don't even know if I can mention that. I think it is a case study, but I don't know. Anyway, they got the requirements, did the discovery, said 30 days, about 30 grand. Okay. And he said 14 of those 30 days in the design phase and development phase was prompts. They have to perfect the prompt, and there's so much interesting stuff in here in this one conversation. I might actually put it in my community because there's so much. This is an actual engineer, an actual professional. He's not these creators that you see on YouTube who've made a few grand from selling automations and now sell the courses. This guy was a professional. This is what he did, and I helped him do it. Let me see what else he said in here. It was interesting. I exported the chat and put it into ChatGPT, so I'm going to now just ask him what was the most interesting. In fact, I can probably show you this, can't I? What was the most interesting part of this conversation? Right, let me show you. Great question. Customer Fuse China, but arguably the most interesting part is this moment. Oh, there you go. We'll make an app. It will run through AI to extract the text. It will give the text to a different AI model with some very clear instructions of what to do. That will spit out a summary document that will go into a Word template that will go back to the user. This part perfectly encapsulates the power of combining Power Apps and Power Automate and AI. A user-facing app where someone simply uploads documents, the automation extracts content, feeds it to a large language model with a tailored prompt, a really tailored prompt, and then a clean, formatted summary report is automatically returned. And all of this runs seamlessly in the background, triggered by just a user click. Right, I think this was like July last year, I had this conversation. Oh, look at this as well. Also, a notable bit is where Andy says, we all learn this stuff of YouTube videos. And look at where you guys are now, watching me on YouTube, learning this stuff. And who better to learn it from than someone who's actually been there and done that, so to speak, okay? Has seen it work in the corporate world. From there, let me tell you a bit about me, right? When I was been growing up, all I've ever known is that I've wanted to start a business and earn money myself. That's all I've ever known. That's why I got into sales, because I was in control of my own income. That's literally the only reason I did it, is because I knew I couldn't, and no offense to anyone out there that does this, but I couldn't turn up to work at 9 and leave at 5. I wouldn't give a fuck. I literally would not care about the company if I wasn't having any sort of incentive or bonus to actually work for them. In sales, you get an incentive or a bonus commission because you're bringing business in for that company. And when you bring business in, you get a percentage of that business that you bring in. Normally a very, 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 very small percent. And towards the end of my career there, that's what actually started to piss me off. I started to think, hang on, why am I'm selling these huge projects? There was the biggest project I sold was over 6 figures, and it's for something called Microsoft Dynamics, which is like no, it wasn't. Was it? What is it even called nowadays? It's not Microsoft Dynamics. What is it called? I can't remember what it's called. It's like the all-in-one. I'm gonna have to search it. Business Central. That's what it's called. It's called Business Central, which is literally the heartbeat of the business. That's why it's called Business Central. It does everything. It integrates all these apps together. Your finance, your sales, your accounting, everything, every bit gets integrated. And they weren't small projects, okay? You'd have to pay it was like a couple grand a month for the licensing. But to have the company I was working for build those systems out and softwares for these companies cost thousands. Like I said, it was $1,000 a day. I sold it a lot less. I sold it for a lot less on a day rate. I can't remember how much, but I needed to get it over the line for that month. Otherwise, I was struggling for that month. But what's mental is a lot of people's limiting belief that they think they can't sell an automation for $5,000. Do you know how little that is? When I was selling to SMB, small to medium sized businesses, so not huge enterprise businesses. I was in the SMB team. So I was selling to people who, they weren't huge businesses, but something went wrong. We needed to come in, we needed to fix it. Again, that was over $1,000 a day for these engineers. Sometimes it would take 7 days. That's $7,000. And they were paying it like it was nothing. And people out here on YouTube are telling you to have to sell something for $1,000. What a waste of time that is. Even if it's a plug and play, these businesses have money to spend. I'm telling you, they have money to spend. So $5,000 for an automation is not a lot of money when these people were paying $30,000 for something that would save them obviously a lot of time. But we could do that for so much less. Anyway, I've started ranting. Right, so this is what it's come out with. We'll make an app. It'll run it through AI to it. We'll make the app. Look at that. This is the most interesting part of the text, right? We'll make an app. We'll run it through AI to extract the text. It will give the text to a different AI model with some very clear instructions of what to do, which will spit out a summary document, and that will go into a Word template, and then we'll go back to the user. Do you know how I could make that in 2 hours? Okay, obviously minus the prompting and everything. I could make that even probably in less time. I could get everything, the nodes and the modules together, and have that ready in an hour. And you know how much they were selling that for? I can't remember, but that is incredible. Let's ask. Do you know what I'm going to do with it? I'm going to ask ChatGPT more questions here, so you can understand what was said in this conversation. I've just literally given it the transcript, and I can tell you what it said. So it perfectly encapsulates the power of combining Power Apps, Power Automate, and AI. So a user-facing app to where someone simply uploads documents. I had this conversation back in August or something like that, right? And this is where I came with the app idea, but no, everyone's started jumping on it now. It's their fresh idea. Fuck off. Anyway, an automation that extracts content and feeds it to an LLM with a tailored prompt. A clean formatted summary report is automatically returned, and all of this runs seamlessly in the background, triggered by just one user click. That is what we call a hyper automation. That is what we call an AI system. Again, AI system. AI can be embedded invisibly into business processing, but delivers real world outcomes with almost zero user friction. That is what we want. Okay, that is actually a quote I'm going to put somewhere. AI should be embedded invisibly into business processes, I'm going to say it again, which delivers real outcomes with zero user friction. That's an AI system, and that is hyper automation. And it's also notable a bit where Andy says, shouldn't have really said his name. Well, it's there anyway. We all learned this off YouTube videos. And here you are learning off me. And who better to learn from than someone that has actually done it, been there, sold these systems in an enterprise corporate world for small to medium-sized businesses, and hasn't learned off YouTube himself, but has come here. Well, actually, tell a lie. I started playing around with make.com and then started learning from YouTube. But I didn't learn AI automation agency. I didn't type in that because I didn't even know what the fuck that was. I just started learning make.com how-tos. Yeah. But here you are learning from me, and who better to learn from, like I say, than someone who's actually done it. These powerful tools are accessible and not limited to seasoned developers because they're no code. Do you know what I mean? No code. It reinforces the idea that you guys don't need to go to school. You don't need to be you don't need to be software developers. You don't have to get in 50, 60, 70 grand debt from a university to learn this stuff. You can learn it for free on YouTube. Oh, it's just incredible. Let's see. What else was said? Let's do this. That could be used in an AI automations agency. A ton of gold was dropped in that convo. Do you know why? Because they asked great questions. Discovery, define deliverables, accountability. So the discovery would usually be a couple of workshops over a couple of days to understand the process. Then we say, okay, we think this app would be best. This is how the data is going to be structured. That statement of work is exactly what we're going to do for them. Right, so let me talk to you about discoveries. We used to go in for 2 to 3 days, right, at a minimum, and they used to sit there. These engineers, right, these automation specialists, sit there with the business and learn their processes, like how they work day in, day out, and how this could be integrated into their business. Not saying that's what you have to do, but it's certainly an opportunity there for you to actually sit down with these people, come in as an AI consultant, and you can get paid probably 5 times the amount you actually are right now, if you even are. So you can run a discovery session with them, define clear deliverables, and then create a statement of work to reduce scope creep and build trust. So by build trust, what that probably means is that you're actually going to be sat there with them, scoping out everything, understanding everything about their business for you to then to actually go, okay, now I know everything. Let me create a full statement of works that is completely tailored and bespoke to you. This is what we've heard. This is what we propose. Position your work as modular and transferable, but so good that they won't want to switch. Oh yeah, so this is one thing they said. They said they would do a whole discovery, the 2 days. Say it's a 30-day project. They'd do a 2-day discovery. After that 2-day discovery, they'd give them this statement of work. They'd even say, with that statement of work, and I've used this in my own sales pitch, I'll give you a state of works. At the end, you can go away. You can work with someone else. If you don't like me, you can go work with someone else. But the aim is, no one's ever done that, because the aim is to make that statement of work so good, okay, you make them understand that you've heard everything about them, that they cannot go to someone else. If they went to that with someone else, they'd be stupid, because that statement of work is so good that they understand that you know everything about them and you're the person to actually work with them on this. Now, I don't want people thinking, fuck, what is Ben on about? Because I'm not that clever. Doesn't matter. It comes with time. Do not worry. Like I say, these guys, I love them to bits, right? But they're big nerds, okay? That's just what they were. They were big nerds. Do you think they were great client-facing to start with? No. This guy, Andy, when he got on calls with people, he just... The way... I didn't even need to sell, because he sold for me, because his passion was second to none. He loved AI and automations. And when he got on that call, you could see how much he loved AI and automations. And things would be coming to the top of his head if, we started going, okay, this is what we're going to do. Oh, but we could also do this. Actually, we could also do this. And the customer loved it. Okay. And that's exactly how I am on the call. That's exactly how I am right now. You're probably sitting here thinking, wow, I'm listening to Ben because he's very passionate and he sounds like he's speaking about what he knows. I do fucking know this, and I'm speaking very passionately because I love it. And I just can't, I don't know how I can get across how much I know this. And I hope you guys are, whatever, I'm going to start going off a tangent, get all emotional with you, start crying. Look at this one. When an email arrives with a purchase order, AI reads it, extracts info. If confidence is low, user fixes it in an app, then it continues. Don't really know what that means, but look at the first part of it. It extracts info. That, I bet, was sold for 10 grand. Honestly, I bet that was sold for 10 grand. And people here are watching, I bet you'd sell it for 500 quid, $500. 10 grand now, I reckon. We're going to make them out where they can do a survey on site, take pictures, and it generates a Word doc that goes to that client. What? Use these as real world case study templates in sales calls or your website. Yeah, whatever. So they use Power Platform, right? So it's all the Microsoft stack. It'll run it through AI to extract the text with some very clear instructions, then into a Word template. Power Platform AI. I hope you guys are getting like some ideas from this. You might be reading just this one sentence, go, oh my God, I can do that for someone I know, or something like that. Apps make AI tangible. Oh, not like I've talked about that before. No. Talk about it now because it's relevant now. .NET quoted them 150k. Oh my God, this is another thing, right? No code tools are going to make things a lot. You're going to be able to out-compete certain software developers who maybe create .NET apps, or I don't even know because I'm not a programmer, but it's people who done in .NET, coded in .NET, quoted 150k. They did it for 30k. 1 million AI tokens last 10 months and cost 400 quid. I think that's a deal that, I think Microsoft bought OpenAI. So if you build on the Microsoft platform, you actually get 1 million AI tokens, which costs 400 quid, which is mental. They all learned off YouTube. See, this is obviously me asking how I could start and stuff like that. How mental is this? I forgot about this conversation. You guys are actually seeing how I started this. You've probably heard me say it and thought, yeah, bollocks, this guy probably learnt off YouTube and has just decided to be the same as everyone else. No. I had this conversation. It only lasted about 21 minutes, but you should have heard me. I was like, blah, 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 blah. I was peppering him with questions. Positioning AI is iterative. Right. In terms of this, guys, give me some questions that I can ask this GPT here that will potentially have the answers for you, because I asked a hell of a load of questions in there. If you want to hear the answers from an actual AI automations engineer, some guy gets paid a fuckload of money to do this in an actual corporate setting, then get in touch, put it in the comments, and I'll ask this question to it, and I'll email you over the answers. Right, but let's get back to this before I don't know. So how are you going to actually sell these hyper automations? So as I've said, businesses aren't going to buy just automations, right? You can't throw AI automation in front of someone and they're going to want to buy it. I'm telling you that for free, okay? They buy outcomes. So stop pitching this lead gen system or this proposal generator system. Position it as a business change, a business transformation, or a digital transformation, right? Now, people in the UK are still very slow. The US are probably a couple years ahead of us, but people in the UK are still very slow to this kind of stuff. Right, there's a lot of you out there who are going to be younger than me. I'm 26 years old, okay? There's a lot of people who are going to be younger than me listening to this. There's a lot of people who are going to be older than me listening to this. So the older ones will realize, cloud has only been a big thing since COVID, right? COVID accelerated working from home. It accelerated accessibility. It accelerated the onset of the cloud, right? Now, a lot of you who are younger than me are probably thinking, what is he on about? That the cloud's been around forever. No. So people used to buy servers, and that's where their data was held. That's where their website would have been hosted on. They had these physical, right? You might have seen them in films, like racks with loads of beeping lights in there, right? So in my first sales job, I used to sell data center solutions. So we'd have data centers. So think of it as big corrugated iron buildings. And in there, it would have a load of cooling. It would have a load of connectivity. By connectivity, obviously like Wi-Fi, stuff like that, right? It would have a load of power, obviously. And I was selling space within these racks. So someone needed a server because they had a big database, right? They had a big database. Their e-commerce store had a load of database, something like that, okay? I don't know. That's an example. But they needed what was it called? A NAS server, something that would hold a hell of a load of data. So I'd sell them the space in a data center for, I don't know how much it was. Then I think it was the Russian war actually that started this whole thing with power. Remember when the cost of living crisis went up and power was like through the roof and pensioners they still can't. Thanks to Labour. I'm joking. Not going to get political, but people elderly can't heat their homes, right? Now there was a thing back in the day where it doubled, didn't it? It tripled. Can't remember what happened. So we had to increase the prices of our data center solutions because the power it was costing to run the cooling, by cooling I mean like big AC vents, right, to cool it, because obviously you can imagine all those servers running, those computers, these big high compute servers would I lost my train of thought. Shouldn't take breaths. These big high compute servers would give off a lot of heat, so we needed to cool it down. So the thing is, obviously COVID hit and the cloud came and it got really accelerated. So the thing is, what we were doing, we weren't selling these physical servers anymore. We were selling like Hyper-V or just any sort of beefy server that could spin up, I don't know, 100, 200 virtual servers in the cloud. Okay, it would spin these up in the cloud. You could now, a lot of you, if anyone self-hosts NA10, you buy a VPS, a virtual private server. This virtual private server is it's in a big data center, but it's a big beefy server that just spins up whenever you want. You click a button on here and it will just ping the server, and the server will ping and spin up this virtual environment for you to host your NA10 self instance in there. Okay, I don't know if I'm explaining this very well. So you do realize that this business that I used to work for is still going. They're trying to move people to the cloud, but still data center solutions is huge. I'm actually currently working with a data center, an IT company, giving them, they've got a proof of concept of the lead gen system. They're going to be using the lead gen system to try and make people, IT directors, CTOs, stuff like that, try and pitch their service regarding co-location, which is renting space, having your own server and putting it in there, or renting a server, etc., etc. I'm not going to get too much into it, but what I'm basically trying to say here, cut a long story short, is people are slow to change, and there's still a lot of change to be made. So if you're selling this a sort of transformation system or a digital transformation into AI, into an AI system, that's how you want to be positioning it, not just a lead gen system or a lead gen automation, right? Now, it's funny because I said that and then I've literally put, don't call it lead gen automation, call it an AI-driven lead generation system. But, instead of calling it a customer support automation, it's AI chatbots and AI-powered ticketing systems. Instead of a SAKES and CRM automation, sales and CRM automation, it's AI follow-ups, lead nurturing, deal tracking, and outreach optimization. I hope you're sort of getting the gist here. I hope I'm not rambling. I hope I'm not boring you with a load of technical stuff. But I do think this will help you. Mainly, I'm trying to shift your mindset from the YouTuber that everyone else has taught you, okay? I'm trying to shift your mindset from AI automation agency to the way I think, AI business, okay? Outcomes, systems, results, deliverables, right? I've talked about this before, okay? This is data, AI data-driven insights. This will be huge if it already sort of is, right? So what I mean by this is we used to have an AI and automations team, but we had a data and AI team. That was a whole separate team, data and AI. People would come to us and say, okay, I've got all this data. I don't know what to do with it. I was actually on a call with a prospect the other day, yesterday, who was saying they do some cool stuff. And I don't know if I can talk about his case studies, but one was about, should I do this? I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to do it. One was about how this, when you get like a mole on your arm. Okay, well, you get a mole. You get a mole, right? A couple moles. This dermatology clinic, if you don't know dermatology, it's all to do with skin. This dermatology clinic had a bunch of, I think during COVID, people would have to send in photos of their mole because they were a bit concerned by it. So by the end of COVID, they had thousands of photos of moles, and they had it tagged cancerous, not cancerous, cancerous, not cancerous. And do you know that stage 1, like skin cancer or mole cancer or whatever it is, can just be zapped out. That's it, and it won't come back. Stage 2, you're in a bit of trouble. I think you've got a 15% chance of dying. I can't believe I remembered this. And then it goes up and up. In stage 4, you're toast. Okay, if you've got stage 4 cancer, that's it. You're toast. There's no way of getting out here. But essentially, what this company that I was speaking to yesterday were doing, this is so cool, by the way. They had all these photos of this dermatology clinic had all these photos of cancerous and non-cancerous moles, and they gave it to this company that I'm about to work with, who work with data and AI. They actually have a team of Indians, who, like, I can't remember how many he said. It's like 5,000 or something, who will create these kind of apps. And the clinic has given this company I'm about to work with a bunch or all of the photos. The team in India are going to analyze it, sort it, create some sort of front end app. And this app, people can just like take a photo of this mole that they've got, and with like 99 point something stupid % accuracy, with insane, incredible accuracy, this app will be able to tell you whether your mole is cancerous or non-cancerous. That's game changing. That's going to save so many lives. That is mental. I have a girlfriend, right, and all she ever talks to me, I got a new mole. Look at that. I don't know what. Do you know what I mean? I have to sit there analysing this myself. So for this app to come in is incredible. So data and AI is incredible. So how could you actually use data and AI? Well, as I showed you before, what about the AI report generation? They put in a load of into this app. They'll put in a load of reports, and what it will do, AI will analyze it, chunk it, whatever it needs to do, summarize it. It will just analyze all that data and then create one big report. It's going to save people like days, weeks, months. In a year, it will save them months, right? And then sometimes, like, for moving away from that example, but they can take a load of data that a company has, say in certain times, say like, don't know what I was about to say there, say in terms of Sales, like say they get certain sales at this time of day, or when is it better to call people? What times of the year did they get more sales? What did they do at that time of year? You could give AI all this data, and it will be able to make faster and smarter decisions. And what I mean by that, for example, what if you gave AI all your data from last year in terms of sales forecasting and stuff like that? It would be able to forecast your whole year ahead based on the data that you're currently giving it. So we forecasted this, we've currently got this in pipeline, we've currently closed this amount. What do you think we're going to do this month? And it'll probably, with 99% accuracy, tell you what you're probably likely to close this month. And if it's below target, obviously the sales directors are going to be onto the sales team saying, you fucking hell, you need to sort this out. Or they're going to be coming to me and going, okay, we need more leads because we need to close more deals. So there's just this gets my brain, makes me, I can't say what I was about to say. It makes me excited, okay? Just talking about it, right? It just gets me there's endless possibilities. And just start with, what I'd say is just start with one thing and then we can move on, right? You can sort of start getting into my mind frame and what I think about and speak about. So MSPs who I used to work for, managed service providers, are already selling this stuff. Freelancers and agency owners can win these deals by being smaller, so more, less touch points, more intimate, so to speak. But you can also win it by being cheaper, but also just as effective. You can create the same outcome by, honestly, a third of the price. Your day rate's not going to be 1,250. It's not even going to be a quarter of that. 1,250 divided by 4. It's 300 quid. Your day rate could be 300 quid. That's a good income. That's a decent income. Might be a bit more, 500 quid. But over the course, you add that up over so many days, you're so much cheaper than everyone else. So examples of how data and AI can work together. You can analyze industry pain points. Thank you very much. There's my lead gen system. That's exactly what it does using AI and Perplexity. You can give it AI dashboards. Oh, that's exactly what I've just spoke about. Sales and revenue forecasting. I didn't even know that was in there. Risk analysis. Okay, let me tell you about another case study that we used to do. If you're from the UK, you might have heard of Cadent, right? They're a gas company. If you haven't heard of Cadent, I promise you, you're going to see their vans everywhere, right? Because I didn't hear of them, and then suddenly I was seeing them everywhere. They're literally right outside my house right now. They're about to close the road for a week. So they're a gas company. I don't know if they're big in America. I don't know where they are. I think they're just the UK. I'm not 100% sure. But essentially, we ended up saving, I can't remember how many lives it was, but they saved so many lives because they could using AI, identify where risks were, where work people were most likely to get injured, what work they were doing to most likely get injured or killed, where fatalities most likely were, analyze that and really increase the safety precautions that this company would take. Risk analysis, saving lives, AI and data. Marketing, lead gen or AI, hyper-personalized marketing emails to, contact people with the right product at the right time using, again, data from this consumer who's potentially, every e-commerce store, Shopify store has data of their people when they come on. I think through cookies, I don't know. There might be some marketers out here who know, I don't know. But you get data from every time someone enters your store and looks online and is browsing. So they might have clicked on a specific product. What if one day later, this probably already happens to you, you get an email with that exact product, and then continuously you're getting emails with maybe similar products or that product, and how more likely are you to buy? People buy from emails. It's really interesting. So what I want you to do is change the perception of yourself from an automations guy to a specialist, or an automations guy or specialist to a business growth strategist, because AI, especially in data, is going to help people grow. It's going to help people. It's going to make better. It's going to help people make better decisions. It's going to help people make smarter decisions. It's going to help that business grow. So just change that perception that these YouTubers have given you. There's these gurus, right? They've given you the perception. You've been brainwashed into thinking you're just an automations guy who sells a proposal generator. Do you want to make money or not? That's all I'm saying. So how are you going to structure and actually sell these services? So done for you systems. If you guys have been in touch with my channel, there's one guy's going to hate me saying this because he's had bad issues with it and for some reason blamed me. But a done for you system like the cold email infrastructure that I have. If you set up everything correctly, DNS records, if you do exactly what I've said in terms of Spark posts and MX route, if you do exactly what I've said in terms of personalizing every email, warming up your accounts properly, Don't be spammy, sending a certain amount of emails per day, and you're actually relevant. Let's call it relevant audience targeting instead of just spammy emails. You're going to be fine. Okay. And that's a, I don't know why I'm talking about that, but that's a done for you system. That's an example of a done for you system where they have the customer and consumer or client has very little input. You minimize as much friction as you possibly can whilst maximizing the results and outcome that they can potentially have. AI consulting and data-driven insights, which is exactly what I've just talked about. AI SaaS or no-code AI products. Oh my God, Bolt have just integrated Stripe. You can create an app and have people paying you monthly within seconds. I might do that for the, what's it called? For my email infrastructure. I don't even know. But I've got an automation there that sets up DNS records perfectly. Why not take advantage of that? No, I'm copywriting it. Don't steal my, whatever the word is. Is it copywriting? I don't know, but don't steal my idea. I'm going to do it. How to identify these opportunities. Right. So I'm actually going to talk you through what you need to do. So you need to find the prospects. Right. Step 2. No, I'm joking. How are you going to find the prospects? Go onto LinkedIn Sales Navigator. If you can't afford it, try get a free month of the advanced Sales Navigator plan. I know a lot of people have dropped off by now, so it's just going to be me and you. Okay. I bet it's just us two talking right now. And this is in a secret for you, and you're going to make a fuckload of money from it. Go on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, get the advanced plan, go into search product category interest and type in, obviously first you want to sort of create your sort of automation, your hyper automation, your system. You want to create your offering. Okay. Then you sort of want to validate it a little bit, flirt it around a little bit with a few emails. Then you want to go on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Then you want to get the free plan. Then you want to go on the advanced plan. You want to go on search product category interest and type in your offer. Type in there what you are selling. Okay. And it will come up with people that are potentially interested in it. And there you go. You've got a targeted list. Find their emails, put it through my lead gen system, blast out a load of cold emails, and there you go. You've got your email, you've got your lead list, you're contacting them, you're going to have some leads and opportunities there. Then you've got to understand the available tools. So you've got your Bolt for app and website creation, or if you're French, website creation. Make an NA10 for piecing all that together in the back end. Potentially NA10, you can self-host it. It's really cool. If you're going to make a SaaS business, how cool would it be if you could just self-host an NA10, have the automation running in the back end, and have a front end SaaS app for people to actually log into, do all that stuff. Yeah. SaaS platforms like Instantly for outreach. Okay. So you need to understand the available tools. Now, obviously people are just talking about Bolt. I knew about Bolt, I don't know, in October last year. I've got a newsletter. If anyone wants to subscribe to it, let me know. It's got plenty of information in there about AI updates and stuff like that. Stuff that you can actually, I do it in my school community as well. I actually have a section called AI updates that pretty much almost daily, actually it's stopped for a little bit now. I update everyone on the newest AI tools, which are literally coming up daily, and how you can make money from them. So if you're interested in that, take a look, but you don't have to. It doesn't matter to me. Step 3, sell the systems and then have retainers on top to help support those systems after they go live. So this is a big thing about retainers and how you can actually land longer term retainers. Is you're not just there as a one-off, like what do they call it? What's like that thing that one night stands are called? It's like, I don't know. There's like a little rhyme for it, isn't there? Beat and yeet. So I know there's a few of them, but that's the one that comes to mind. You don't want to beat and yeet. Okay. You want to be with them and help them continuously optimize, continuously develop, help if anything goes wrong, improve, monitor, all that stuff. Yeah. Bosh. There you go. And this was, if I'm going to be honest, actually my favorite video I've recorded in a while. I actually really enjoyed making this, and I hope you really enjoyed watching it as much as I've enjoyed talking about this stuff. If you want to hear more about this stuff, particularly about that conversation I had with an actual AI specialist in the work I used to do, drop me a comment, let me know. I hope this video does well, because I'm fed up of people stealing my ideas and talking about everything that I talk about. But honestly, I do think this is the biggest opportunity for automation agencies in 2025. Stop selling tasks and start selling actual systems. You can position yourself as the expert, build like a SaaS would, and charge like one too. And if you want help doing that, subscribe right here or wherever it is, somewhere down below, and check out the school community too if you want to learn more. But I hope you enjoyed as much as I enjoyed making it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.